walking me off of this ledge. I'ma die on the throne like Saddam and Assad and Gaddafi. I'm bombing these foes and I'm off with the heads till the guillotine goes on a killing speed like the military of Philippines. The superhuman ability filling me as a real MC. I'm a milliliter, millisecond, millimeter from becoming even iller than Attila the Hun. When it will I turn into a motherfucking gorilla? Godzilla the wildebeest, ain't nobody can really be in vicinity. My enemies coward, the Yahweh, the divinity, power, devour the cowards cause y'all are mini-me's. So let it be known that when I make flows, I got infinity stones cause I'm Thanos with a stranglehold. And this whole motherfucking game, I go insane when I boast. Aimed at your throat, dang, the chain goes back and a chain in the flow. Brains getting blown and it pains me to know that the anger is so dangerous. I may just go eat ape shit, get irate, no patience and flow. Face it, I'm your ace in the hole, so the whole table will fold. And I'm taking you back to the depths of my soul. It's so black, if you go there you'll never come back. It'll be taking a toll when you can't even begin to breathe. And you're heaving and wheezing when off of the deep end. Been working so hard that I'm not even taking time off on the weekends. I'm off of my rocker, I'm not even sleeping. Shit, I need a doctor before I turn into a heathen. You're seeing the demons that taunt me at night in the mind of a genius.
I've been through the wind, the rain, the sun, the fire, smoke. You could take my life and dog, I'd still be called the goal. Superheroes coming at my motherfucking throat, but I don't think these bitches ready for infinity stones. Yeah, I've been through the wind, the rain, the sun, the fire, smoke, but I don't think these bitches ready for infinity stones.
So can I get a pen? Let me get a name. And I never made a man with a fake friend on his back. Finna play pen and killing shit again. Said his villain will offend. No, you layman's kid, I'm amazing. I spit in his place and they rip out the cage. Been inflicting my rage on you bitches. My cadence is vicious and a flash it can hit you like taking a picture. Troy Aikman, I sling this shit. King of this bitch when I'm swinging this thing. I'm a jig like it's Wimbledon. Then again, I was killing shit since a little kid. Am I legitimate with Jimmy? The Kimmel is a laughing stock. I'm trying to be more like Timberland. Kim Kardashian, Photoshop breaking the internet. Take your opinion and shove it up a bubble, but never runner up #1 in this bitch. So let it be known that when I make flows, I got infinity stones cause I'm Thanos. I got infinity stones cause I'm God give me the strength for me to pull through. 22 fucking years I went through hell as my mental health was in a cell like I entered jail. So this shit ain't ended well, I'm scared frozen stiff when the walls of life have been closing in. No, a leopard on the throne to seek cause I smashed every record but the gold I've yet to set. So I hold my breath as I reach for the sky, rise, set that bar so high. Why? So nobody will ever be equal with I lies. Cause nobody will ever be better than me till I meet my demise. Just try. You motherfuckers ain't even close to the rhymes to the level I'm at. Getting posterized by the rap devil. In fact, I'm gone, so I'll never be back. Leaving you dead in your tracks. I'm in the head of the class while you're last. And you never gon' pass me. Sit and ask me for Jack. Mumble rapping vendetta. Won't let up till I'm clapping Berettas. I'm little pumps heading on Yachty and Uzi. I'm bougie, so rude even Kanye could get it. Motherfuckers really wanna see me go to hell, but I don't really give a damn about opinions. If you could tell, I wish you hating bitches while I just excel. I never taken any L's. I featherweight, there goes the pellet. I get at him, attacking it with the javelin, rat-a-tat, automatic. Bitch, I'm battering like a paladin from here to the Vatican. It's unanimous. I never been no Anakin. My name is Luke. I've had it with the shenanigans. No mannequin challenge. I plan to do damage to any Madeline. Mad again, I'm Madeline. It don't matter about the friggin' analysis or whatever the fuck the pattern is. I've had it with the babbling. I'm mad again. You be leaving in the ambulance. So let it be known that when I make flows, I got infinity stones cause I'm Thanos.
If they want war, call me Amazon. I'm there in a day with a...
Yeah. Watch. I'll start acting wild. I'll go Hollywood. Gas up, lift off. Past that, picked off. Walk in, drip sauce. Red, green, flip flops. When I get pissed off, don't get involved. Cause I don't hip toss. I Chris Benoit. Off of the top rope, I get it cracking, you not dope. Rappers be talking like they got the plug, and they don't even got the aux code. I'm independent, the label can get it. Yeah, I got a lot more. I just been waiting on someone to call from an area code in Toronto. Watch that happen now. I'll go Hollywood, I'll start acting wild. Yeah. Watch that happen now. I'll go Hollywood. Yeah. Call up the devil, let's make up a deal. He want a solo on 500 mil, yeah. If that's on the table, let's make it quick. I want the same thing you gave Justin Bieber, that same thing you gave Taylor Swift, Whatever that is, I need it. I need money to the ceiling. I wanna get it and spend it, get it and spend it again and repeat it. I wanna get the expensivest thing on the menu and not even eat it. I want a crib that I stay in, I won't be so famous I can't even leave it. Wait, don't put my name in the mag, my family about to be mad when they read it. I don't really want attention, but they in my mention calling me conceited. Replying with something I shouldn't have tweeted, but before I get to delete it, they TMZ it, got the screenshot and that it seems hot and everybody gotta see it down. Watch that happen now. I'll go Hollywood, I'll start acting wild. Watch that happen now. I'll go Hollywood. Andre on my neck tucked in, that's 3K, that's not no flex. I wish I could take that back, I had to get that off my chest. I just played that new Jay-Z, that shit make me want invest. Then I play that Ariana, that shit make me want have sex. I keep it moving with no navigation. If she choosing, then she usually come through my location. Yeah, I think you need a new occupation. Ooh, your girl gave me the job without no application. Yeah, that was easy, tag that whole like lime graffiti. Green paint job like I'm Luigi, rolling yo, she feeling peachy. She was trying to lose me, now she trying to reach me. I could use a few drinks, she could use a Fiji. Watch that happen now. I'll go Hollywood, I'll start acting wild. Yeah, watch that happen now. I'll go Hollywood, watch, watch.
I don't know who it is, Sharon. They won't stop calling me.
Finna reach my goals. I walk around pockets full. I just got the new hit 14. That's the shit you wish you could afford. And they say, yeah. I'm headed up to the stars. That 25-8 overwork, don't hate my shit, just got me more. If I can trust her, I can trust anybody. I'm making sure all the day was beside me. And niggas wildin' so I don't drink at parties. Girls making bad decisions off Bacardi. Rappers so they gon' search me on Safari. None of my old girls can have me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's that big bad wolf, about to blow your fucking house down. With a £1/4 in my trunk on the southbound. You can smell me coming as I'm whipping it around town. Weed so loud that I'm smoking in surround sound. Had them hooked since I shook that piff. No one handed me the keys, so I took that shit. With Letary and Milton doing some hood rat shit. On my hustle and flow, I'ma whoop that trick. Got Henny in me, I'm rolling with plenty biddies. That hometown pussy, I call it Connecticut. It's animated as Ren and Stimpy, so
I could have stayed down. I could let it all take.
It's just another night, and I swim deep in my memories, looking for one of those precious moments buried in my thoughts, hoping that I can grasp more than your silhouette and fully remember. I cannot picture you as a whole. There's always something pushing me aside, and the more I relive these scenes, the more I'm pushed away from them. I'm no longer a
Well, that was a whole lot of music fail this morning. I am terribly sorry about that. Good Friday morning to everybody. Welcome to yet another Tea with a Hacker. Welcome. Yes, new view. I had an ADHD moment where I had to absolutely rearrange the entirety of the office. So different view. I basically just rotated the desk like 90 degrees. So I got me a window right here, and then there's a window that you guys have probably never seen, which is this window right here. Over here as well, and then the couch is back here behind me for those times where I really just want to like sit back and chill. But welcome everybody to Friday. Terribly sorry about the music choice. I was trying some different vibes this morning, and it was just not having it. I'm going to go back to, have to go back to what I know there. We made it to another Friday. Cheers again, gosh. Good stuff. I also I switched out my normal headphones for my inner ears. It's amazing when you clean your office, and then you find stuff that you forgot like that you had. And I was like, oh man, I forgot that I used to have these inner earpieces that I would use before I got my over the ears. And I was like, man, I should go back to using my inner earpieces because I definitely like that. So ADHD already this morning. Welcome everybody to our Friday morning Tea with a Hacker. If you are new here, thank you so very much for tuning in this morning. It's good to see everybody on this lovely Friday morning. If you're regular here, I see a lot of my regulars in chat. Good morning to you. Thank you yet again for tuning in this morning. It's good to see everybody on this Friday. This is our Friday morning AMA stream where we sit down together, we hang out. We have a lot of thematic streams throughout the week, and so I sit down with you on a Friday. We have some coffee, we have some tea, and we sit down and we bullshit about the current state of cybersecurity. You guys ask me some questions, and I answer them, and we count how many soapboxes I happen to be on. Speaking of things going on, we do have an active giveaway in Discord. I want to get that going before it gets too far gone. I forget when it ends. Today at 4. You have until today at 4. We've got some Try Hack Me vouchers from BitLift. 3 Try Hack Me vouchers from BitLift that we're giving away right now. So do make sure you are over in Discord and you are participating in that giveaway. And give a huge shout out to Jason and the team. Jason called me last night. Jason was like, and I thought it was gonna be something bad. He called me at like 8:30 last night, and I was like, oh shit. It must be really bad if Jason is calling me at 8:30 at night. Like something must really be broken. He was like, hey man, so I got this once in a lifetime opportunity, and I was like, say no more, take it. I don't know what it is. I don't want to know what it is. Just go take your once in a lifetime opportunity. Don't even worry about the stream. We were supposed to stream today. You know, he's going fishing. He's going fishing in Michigan. So next time, I think we're gonna stream on Tuesday. I think we're gonna move the threat brief to Tuesday. So when Jason comes in on Tuesday, I need you all to give him a bunch of shit for choosing to go fishing instead of telling you what the latest and greatest cybersecurity threats were. We're gonna really give it to him on Tuesday. No, not that kind of fishing. I wish it was. We're gonna hit a couple rules really fast, as we always do on this Friday morning. First rule, the most important rule: no racist, sexist, misogynistic, elitist, or otherwise toxic behavior in chat whatsoever at all. Period. Dot. We have a zero tolerance policy for it here in chat. What does that mean? That means, hey, act right. act right? We're here to talk about cybersecurity. We're here to talk about, anything that you want to ask me. About golf, about Jeeping, about cancer, about streaming, about the office setup, like whatever you want. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. You know what we're not here to talk about? We're not here to talk about anything political, right? Even if we mention something that the government is doing, we're going to take it from a cybersecurity perspective. We're going to take it from a cybersecurity perspective. All right? We do have moderators in chat. I saw two of my moderators check in, Frazier and Beardsec. Make sure you do high five your local moderators. Oh, I see Maz is in there too. We got 3 mods in there. Do make sure you go and you high five your mods. Mods are here taking time out of their precious day, supporting you, supporting the stream, and keeping chat free of any racist, sexist, misogynistic, and elitist behavior. They are not here. None of my mods are here to stifle chat at all. At all. As a matter of fact, they are here to make sure that your words, your voices do get heard. Do get heard. We do encourage civil discourse in chat. I understand that that's 2 really big words together, so allow me to help you out with them. Civil means that we respect each other, and discourse means that we can engage in back and forth conversation. We very much like the civil discourse. That's what it's all about here. So we do encourage civil discourse inside a chat very, very much. So do encourage you to discourse with your fellow cybersecurity nuts inside a chat. They are here to kind of share thoughts, ideas, perspectives across the various platforms. We are streaming across four platforms, 3 of which shall remain nameless. Thank you, Twitch's guidelines. But I see you in those platforms. Even though I can't say your name, I do see you in those platforms. So please, if you're across any of those platforms, this is our Friday morning AMA. Ask your questions directly in chat. We do have moderators who will grab your questions, comments, concerns, bitches, gripes, complaints, and throw them up on screen, and we will talk about them. That's how it works. That being said, since this is a Friday morning AMA, do drop your questions about anything, any topic, any idea that you want to talk about, anything you want to get my opinion on. Lord knows I am in no shortage of opinions. No shortage of opinions. And if you are curious about my opinions, views, thoughts on a matter, you can simply ask them inside a chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. I love giving my opinion. Just remember, I'm not here to tell you how to do things or that any one way is right or wrong. I'm here to give you my opinion from my 25 plus years of being in this industry, from seeing everything from the inside of computers of Syria and Russia and China, all the way to sitting inside of corporate environments and doing the political politicking that comes with being a C-level executive in most of them. I'm happy to give you my opinion across the board on any of those. Wow, those new headphones made you really loud in my ear. You sounded like the Almighty in my head. When Beard talks to me in my headset, right? Anybody remember Iron Man and I think it was Civil War when Ant-Man was inside of Iron Man's suit and Tony Stark goes, "Who's that speaking?" And Ant-Man goes, "It's your conscience. We don't talk very much." And that's what I think about whenever Beard talks in my head. Yeah, kind of, sort of, a little bit. Maz, here you go. Hey, Nitronic Deer tuning in for a Friday. Good to see you. Good to see you. My good friend Durst over there, Nitronic Deer, getting some play on some of the other podcasts. Don't think you haven't gone unnoticed. I see you appearing on a few other podcast shows. getting your GRC opinion out there. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Good to see you. I do have updated shenanigans. Updated shenanigans. I tell you guys all the time, I usually take a look across the social medias to find social media shenanigans that are happening throughout the social media shenanigan world. I've got some, keep the questions coming in. The mods are grabbing the questions and moving them over to the queue. But I want to hit you with some shenanigans. These shenanigans are brought to you from, again, our lovely friends at Our Recruiting Hell on Reddit. I'm reading, so I should bring it up on my computer. Actually, you know what? That's what I got photos on my computer. I should just bring it up there. See, look, ADHD moment for the win. There it is. All right, so our friends over at Our Recruiting Hell. Last week, we talked about our friends over at Our Recruiting Hell. We talked about them getting inundated with fake job applications, right? Yesterday, I saw somebody who had got their first AI HR screening call. Right? Their first AI screening call. Now, I had heard rumors that HR was doing these types of screening calls. I had never encountered one in the wild myself. I still haven't. And I hadn't seen too many people post about those AI screening calls. But yesterday I saw one in Our Recruiting Hell, and I'm going to read it to you. This was Our Recruiting Hell on Reddit. Just got my first AI screening call. I applied for a job where I was a 90% match according to the job site. Within 10 minutes, I got a call. Hello, I'm Riley, a virtual recruiter. Do you have 5 to 7 minutes for a quick interview? Since I never suffered one before, I said, okay, just to see what it's like. The bot's first question, what was the last project you worked on? This person was a director level, and in their particular industry, they always work on 10 projects at the same time. Sounds a lot like, you know, most of us in our industry. With all kinds of cross teams and external clients, so I instinctively asked, can you clarify? Can you be more specific? The bot's answer after some awkward silence was awesome. I promise you, they did not ask me to help them with the answers to the bot. Right? I know that sounds like a very Neal answer to a question right there, but I can unequivocally tell you they did not ask me to help them with the answers to that bot. It then proceeds to ask me another stupid question, which I barely listened to, and then I go, thanks, if I could speak to a human being, I'm not interested in this position, bye, and I hang up. I then get 4 text messages and a voicemail asking me to talk to the AI bot. So there you have it, folks. There you have it. We have AI now from end to end. We have job seekers using AI to mass spam job postings. We have HR using AI to filter out all of your resumes and all of your job qualifications. And if you happen to make it past the AI filtering system, now you have AI bots calling you for your screening interview. Welcome to your AI utopia. Cheers. Pretty soon, layoffs are going to be 100% done via AI. Layoffs are going to be 100% done via AI. You're going to get an automated meeting on your calendar. You're going to show up to an AI HR bot. There you go. There you go. But I mean, listen, like, not soapbox, not soapbox, not soapbox. We don't need Carmen yelling at us yet this morning. Don't do it yet. When I talk about the job market being bad, this is just another form, right? This is just another form of how bad it has gotten in the job market, right? You can't. There is no way. There is no way that you can figure out which of these systems you're walking into to know how to, like, you have no idea what this bot is programmed to look for in a candidate, right? You have no idea what prompt some big four consulting company that charged $1,500 an hour charged this company to say, this is the prompt that's going to filter out these resumes and allow these resumes through. And so as you're, and so this is why I bring this up, because a lot of you focus heavily on, do I need this for my resume? Do I need this for my resume? Do I need that for my resume? How does this look on my resume? I think, and I've said this before, and there's part of the reason why I'm trying to figure out how much value there is in resume reviews moving forward, right? Is because they're going to be using these types of technologies to further look for the unicorns that they are looking for when they hire for these roles. And you know me, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer on a lot of this stuff, but this is the battle space, right? Right? For my military folks out there, for my folks who spent time in the armed forces, we don't look across the battle space and be like, wow, they've got some pretty advanced drone weaponry. We should just not go to war with them. Right? Right? We look across the battle space so that we can look across the battle space to see what it is that we're dealing with, so that we can understand how we're going to tackle this type of atmosphere as we go out and look for jobs in the world, right? That's what I think is that's the point that I want to drive home is, with AI being in the process from end to end, you have to accept that is your new adversary. It is both your battle buddy. It is both your battle buddy and it is your adversary, right? It can help you do absolutely amazing things, and it will be used in atmospheres that you don't intend for it to be used in to filter you out. Chat over on a platform that shall not be named. Yo, I heard you like AI, so I put an AI in your AI so you can AI while you AI. Yes. We are in, if you've never been part of cyber hype cycles in general, let alone cyber hype cycles, this is the peak hype cycle. This is the peak hype cycle of AI, right? It is in every conversation. It is here, and until we get to the other side, and you can go back and you can see this hype cycle frequently. You could see it with Uber. You could see it with Bitcoin. You could see it with NFTs. You could see it with modems, right? You could see it with laser printers, right? There are hype cycles upon hype cycles upon hype cycles as technology evolves. This is yet another hype cycle. I absolutely do believe you should ride the hype cycle and take as much out of it as possible, especially being good stewards of technology. I see a bunch of people talking about like prompt engineering, the AI stuff. Listen, if I haven't said it before, which I know I have, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it louder for those in the back so you can hear me. Prompt engineering Prompt engineering. Prompt engineering. If you need something to study, go learn prompt engineering, right? Unless you're E-Curve with your second PhD in mathematics, you all will never be the math whizzes behind writing the models from scratch. So your best bet on understanding how to manipulate these models and making them do what it is that you want to do, whether it's hacking, whether it's SOC work, whether it's threat hunting, whether it's your resume, whatever the case is, your best bet of understanding is prompt engineering. I see a couple people loving that new book. I'll show you the two books that I'm reading that chat's talking about. Hold on for a second. So the two books that I'm reading, and these are books that work for me. You know me, I don't typically read books. I have books that I have read, but I'm not a huge reader. I'm a visual learner, right? So for me to read means that they reach to me on a really, really, small level, right? So this one's a little bit bigger. Take screenshots of this while it's up if you need it, but this one's pretty good, right? And then something that's a little bit easier to digest is this one. Both of those are really, really good prompt engineering books. Get good on prompt engineering. I imagine there's probably some way that you could use like Notebook LM to have that stuff read to you. I haven't figured that out yet, but there's probably an Audible book for those if you wanted an Audible book. I like to see the examples, right? I like to see flowcharts on thought processes, right? I like to see I like to see code snippets, right, that I can read through, right? All of those things register for me, right, as I read through a book. So that's one of the reasons why I resonated towards books like that, right? So prompt engineering, that's going to be your, because the folks who are joking in chat about trying to do the prompt engineering stuff, I have a feeling, this is Neal's cyber prediction, this is Neal's hacking prediction on this, right? Prompt engineering for models will be the cross-site scripting and SQL injection. They will be the 1=1 for AI. There's my cyber prediction. Clip it, post it. My cyber prediction is that prompt engineering and being able to hack prompts will be the 1=1 for cyber in the AI world. Right? If you can do that, there you go. Right? I saw one, from My Bay Leah. How can we harness the power of AI to make networking more time efficient to do? Leverage automation. Right? I think one of the things that I think is so my feeling on automation, right? Automation has been around for a while. I think I've talked about this before. We've talked about Ansible, we've talked about SOAR platforms in the security space. Automation is not a new concept, but automation has fallen short because it requires you to already know steps 4 through 8 and program in steps 4 through 8. I think AI automation, AI workflow automation gives you a pass where you don't inherently need to know the steps between where to start and where to end. Let me say that again just in case you were sleeping during that part. I have a belief that the limitation to automation, A, was the programming, but it was that you needed to know and you needed to be able to program every step from 1 to 10 to get an automation to work. And if it failed, it was because you failed to anticipate every required step that existed between 1 and 10. I have a feeling that agentic workflows, agentic automations, and using AI agents to help you with those automations allows you some ambiguity in the middle part. US MC Nerd Dad, send a link to a mod and a mod will verify it before posting it in chat. And Callie, that's a fair point. That's a fair point, right? So it's more of 0 to hero and hope it doesn't break. I mean, I think that, like, let's talk a little bit about the hope it doesn't break part, right? There are people who come into hacking and run Metasploit and hope it doesn't break, right? And in the past, they would run Metasploit, it would break, and what would they do? They would go to the Googles, or they'd go to Stack Overflow, or they'd go to YouTube, and they'd research why it broke, and they would try to fix it. That's basic troubleshooting, right? We're very, very quick to say, oh, they're just going to like vibe code this thing and hope it doesn't break, right? But we forget, what do you think most of us did when we were learning this shit for the first time? We ran shit and hoped it didn't break. And if it broke, we went to the internet and we tried to find somebody else out there in the world who had caused it to break, and we asked them, what did they do? Right? And so, like, I don't fundamentally think it's wrong to build something and hope it doesn't break. Right? I do think it's wrong to build something, have it break, and then for you to not try to problem solve it. Right? I think that fundamentally degrades the value of learning something, but I don't think that there's anything wrong with learning something and having it break on you and then you having to be forced to troubleshoot it. Dosco with the comment of the day. Vibe coding is Stack Overflow with try harder comments. Minus the try harder comments. I love it. Listen, I vibe code. I love my product manager. He's super smart. We taught him how to vibe code Splunk dashboards. And that dude, now that we've taught him how to vibe code Splunk dashboards, that dude shits out Splunk dashboards left and right. That dude's good. Like, I would put him up against content engineers that I've hired at companies before. Right? Vibe coding works. You may not like it, Beardsack, but it works. Hot take, I think leveraging multiple AI agents in agentic is just as dangerous as not knowing APIs. I disagree with you, Callie. I'd love to hear why on that. I think multi-agent systems. So let's exactly, Callie. I have a firm belief agentic AI and small language models is the next wave of the hype cycle. Right? I think agentic workflows and small language models are the next wave of the hype cycle. I love what Dosco says. I'm gonna add that one to the queue because I want to push that one up. I love what Dosco says on that one. With age, so one of the things, and I credit Query for this, right? Because obviously, ever since we've gone neck deep into AI, I've gotten a firsthand seat to learning a lot of this, right? But when you make agents laser focused on a task, and you build a prompt around a laser focused task, and you give it good data, like 1% issues. 1% issues. And then, yes, Callie, small language models, like the Cisco foundational model, right? Not every agent requires GPT-5. Not every agent requires access to the internet, right? Like, those are not requirements for agentic workflows to be successful at all, period, dot. They're not requirements for agents to be able to interact with MCP servers, right? And so having small language models, like ones that are trained and fine-tuned against the Cisco security foundational model, makes your agents so much smarter, so much faster, and so much more efficient doing their job. If you're doing a threat-centric AI agent, you do not need ChatGPT-5. You do not need Grok 4. Right? You don't need that. You can go, so all my Olama fans, all my LM Studio fans, go get the Cisco foundational model and run your cybersecurity questions. If you do compliance, why do you need Grok or GPT-5? Right? If you're just going against NIST, if you're just going against CIS benchmarks, if you're just going against ISO 27001, you don't need GPT-5. Right? And so now that you have a small language model, a Cisco foundational model, and you're writing an agent against that data, super fast, super efficient, very like, and this is what, so shout out to Jens. I always give my shout out to Jens. Jens is absolutely amazing on social media. I love him on this, right? He posted a video to TikTok, one of my rants about AI to TikTok, and in my comments, the typical comments blew up on my TikTok, right? Oh my God, hallucinations. Oh my God, GPT gives me the wrong answer. And I think what we're seeing is problems where people are asking a large language model general questions. And I saw this at a vendor demo. Where they were trying to run a model against a petabyte of DNS data. And you're asking a limited context model, right? I don't care whether it's 20 billion tokens or 7 billion tokens or 4 billion tokens or whatever the case is. There is a limited token context in which it can process data. And I'm sorry, you can't just ask a model across a petabyte of DNS data, right? Hey, find me DNS exfiltration. Like, I think cybersecurity people have this insane expectation that, like, oh, well, if I can't have AI run against a petabyte of DNS data to find DNS exfiltration, AI is useless and I shouldn't use it. Right? And so that's how you end up with the like, it hallucinates, it can't get you the answer, it chokes on big data. This is also why I get back to small language models, mission-specific focus. Right? Mission-specific focus. But I kid you not, there are people in our industry who want to run a model against a petabyte of DNS data to look for DNS exfiltration, and when it barfs, they're like, AI sucks, it's never going to take my job. Screw your AI for cybersecurity, it's never going to work, right? But if you give it structured JSON, where all the fields, where IP address is consistent across all the fields, and you ask it to perform iterative threat intelligence against all extracted IP addresses, it's good. It's fast at that, right? If you give it structured authentication logs for the last 30 days, and when I say structured authentication logs, it's got username, it's got last login dates or all their historical login information, login dates, right? Their logged in IP addresses, things that you would keep for an audit, and it's structured. You could run a model against that, and you could ask it, do you see any login variations that exceed XXX number percentage from normal? Right? Don't ask it, do you see any abnormal login activity? Do you see any recurrence of an IP address being logged in more than 5 times consecutively? Right? You've got to be like that's how infinitesimally new AI is to cybersecurity. Right? That's how you have to think about solving these problems with AI, is you have to be laser specific. Exactly. Garbage in, garbage out. When you get that out of your head, when you get that hallucination thing out of your head, I'm going to ask the mods, Brian, can we put that on a bot? Because I'm going to reference it so many times, right? The website for the hallucination rate of these models, right? When you look at the rate of hallucination for these models, it's ridiculously low. And I will stand on that hill all day long. Right? So this notion that models hallucinate, and that's why we can't use them in cyber, is hot garbage. I saw you, Nitronic Deer, talk about auditors fight me. Fine, fight me on it, right? Because it's people who don't understand technology. Don't even get me started on this GRC engineer garbage. Anyway, models hallucinate because if you give them garbage for data and you ask them garbage questions, you're going to get garbage out. I posted this in Discord. It was a thought exercise. Right? But hear me out on it from a thought exercise perspective. We're going to do a thought exercise on this one, everybody, really quick, right? I'm going to read you what I posted in Discord for a thought exercise. Human 1 has a job. We call it pen testing, SOC analyst, vulnerability management, auditor, whatever the case is, right? They perform the job at XXX% of 100% of their capacity. Or capability. Sorry, not capacity, capability. So human 1 performs the job at X percentage of their capacity. AI performs the same job, the exact same job, we'll call it a GRC analyst, also at XXX% of 100% of their capability. So we have no idea what those X percentages are. Let's not get hung up on that. But they're both performing the same task at their respective capabilities. The assumption that people make with AI is that humans perform every job at 100% of the capability of that job. That's the assumption that people make when they talk about AI. But that is rarely reality. So if humans in software engineering are on average performing at about 50% capability, but an AI can do it at 65% capability, that's better. But what ends up happening is that we as humans are predisposed to looking for errors in robots. And so we say, because it's only 65%, it's not good enough. I think that's the denial that cybersecurity folks are in over AI, is that they assume that when Joe sits down and reads a ticket to service an incident, that he is the smartest person in the room for servicing that incident. And therefore, if an AI came in and tried to do exactly the same job and it only did it to 65% of 100% capability, the AI is not good enough. And I seriously doubt that if we were being honest with ourselves, you would find instances where humans are not at the capacity that they think that they're at. That's my hot take on it. I think we lie to ourselves because we are afraid to admit that we are not as smart as we think we are. Except for Callie. Callie doesn't mind admitting that he's not smart. But Callie's got a point, right? I do 100% of whatever I need to do so my boss doesn't call. Right? But what if that 100% that you need to do for your boss doesn't call is really only 50% of the task you've been asked? And an AI can come in and do 65% of the task you're asked. While it's not 100%, it's 15% better than what you were doing. You see where I'm going with this? And you wonder why AI is going to take your job? All of you people who have been quiet quitting at your job for 2 years because you watched some fucking TikTok video. Oh shit, here it goes. All of you who watched some TikTok video about quiet quitting and are like, hey, I'm just doing my 9 to 5 at 50% capacity. And then you get replaced by AI that can come in and do it 15% more because you've been quiet quitting for 2 years? Get your bitching out of my circle, right? Doesn't matter. My point is, you need to be more realistic about your own capability, about what an AI agent can do. I am rebuilding my consultancy, and I plan on running 100% of my business with agents. Right? 100% of my business with agents. Absolutely. I need to... No, you guys are not going to get me riled up today. You guys are not going to get me riled up today. You laughing in my ear does not help. Very, very true. Thank you for first time chat. Glad your first time chat is this. Thank you so much for chiming in. When your boss asks you to take on extra work, take it. Means they're going to let you go if you don't. Just had some people get made redundant because of that. That's right. That's right. If your boss is coming to you and asking you to do some extra work, they're giving you responsibility because they're about to take it from somebody else. They're about to take that responsibility from somebody else. You can say that sounds very American to you, and you're right. We do not have the labor laws that countries like Germany has. You're 100% right. We don't have that protection. We have states We have states where they can at will fire you. I could get a call from Matt today, right after this stream, that says, hey, Neal, thanks for your service. You're done. GTFO. Because I live in an at will state. This is why I tell you to have a plan. This is why I tell you to network. This is why I tell you to build relationships. This is why I tell you to keep your resume up to date. This is why I tell you the things that I tell you, because your boss could call you today and tell you to go pound sand, and you wouldn't be able to do anything about it. You don't have to like it, but that's reality. Welcome to corporate America. Question over on the platform that shall not be named. If I'm a technical lead for our entire security stack, launched an informal Gen AI app to prod and is being used by hundreds of users monthly, what should be my next move? Do you have you performed any form of audit or pen test or risk assessment, or like that's a very broad. Like, I would assume that if you've launched a Gen AI app into prod, you've got some type of security assessment built around that. Neal, the no filter guy, that's why I'm here. You damn right. You damn right. Listen, I've been in my career long enough, right? I've been in my career long enough that I can say half the shit that I say and get away with it. You know why? Because nobody can tell me it's not the truth. What are they going to do? Neal, I'm sorry, we can't hire you because you tell people the truth on the internet. I don't want, if you're trying to hide the truth from people on the internet, I don't want to work for you anyway. Listen, the people who have, you want to work with people who want your personality, right? You want to work for people that get your personality. If you don't work for people who get your personality, why are you working for them? Don't give me this shit because, like, oh, I need a paycheck, right? You can't make $1 million and not have to give up something somewhere else, right? You've got to make choices. Life's full of these choices that you have to make. But you should generally be able to contend with the people that you work with or for, right? I think some of you have unrealistic expectations. Like, I know for a fact, right? I know for a fact that some of you got spoiled during COVID. Right? If we're on the train of, like, you know, keeping it real with no filter, some of y'all got spoiled during the COVID era. Right? Oh, I could work from home. I will never not have a remote job. If that's your mentality, you're not being real with yourself. Back to our discussion about being real with yourself. You're not being real with yourself if you think that just because for 2 years they eased the restrictions on remote working, that you'll never have to go back to the office. Right? I've said it before. You want to talk about competition? You are competing with every other person who just wants a remote job out there. And companies don't want remote jobs. So again, stand on your laurels if you want to. I'm not here to tell you not to stand on your laurels, but don't bitch. Don't bitch if you're going to demand a remote job in BFE, South Dakota, and the company's offering a salary of $750,000, but it's in New York City, and you're like, well, I'm not moving to New York City for $750,000. You can leave me in South Dakota and pay me $750,000, and I'll work remote in South Dakota for $750,000. And they're like, get the F out of here. And you're like, this isn't fair. I demand $750,000 in South Dakota. right? Some of you aren't being realistic with yourselves. Right? If they want you to move to New York for a job, they're going to look for somebody who will take that job for $750,000 in New York. And they will, listen, this is an employer's market space. This is an employer's market space. You don't get a say. Like, if you've been on this stream since we've been streaming for 5 years, I would have told you something vastly different 5 years ago. Today, if you're complaining about remote versus hybrid versus in office, you're going to lose. You will lose. Period. Dot. End of discussion. You will lose. This is not the market. This is the fuck around, find out market. I quoted it there. It said, this is the fuck around, find out market. We'll get our time. Make no mistake about it. We will have our time in the future. We will get back to where it will be our time. It happens. Markets are cyclical. This market isn't it. This is cutthroat today. This is a fantastic point. This is a fantastic point, right? You don't have to think that the role makes sense in office. It's what the company wants. You don't have to, like, you can think that all you want. You can think that all you want. And you're entitled to your opinion on it. If the company says, I don't care, our culture mandates that you're in the office, you get to get on the bus or you get to get left at home. And you can say that to your boss. You'd be like, well, I just don't think this role is in person. They could be like, cool story, bro. Do you want in or not? Right? Yeah, I think Neal's great doesn't mean I'm right. Yeah. The sheer fact that you know that I'm not, yeah, never mind. I'm not. Oh, I almost threw another creator under the bus. That's a violation of my own rules. I'm not going to do that. Oh. No, I would never, ever do that. Ever. Government jobs versus private jobs. What do you think is the better choice? Would you choose different if you were female? I'm not going to get into gender-based, discussions. Just this is not something I'm going to do. I was thinking if there was a safe way that I could say what was on my mind, and there's not. This will be one of those times where I keep my opinion to myself. Government jobs versus private jobs. What do you think is the better choice? This is 100% preference. 100% preference. I'll give you an example, right? I love Cali. Do you guys know I worked at the NSA for 7 years? I barely talk about it. I don't know why everybody makes a big deal about it. So I loved the mission at the agency. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was at the NSA for 7 years, and I love the mission there. I barely talk about it, but I barely talk about the mission, but the mission was amazing, right? At no other place in the, like, a lot of us talk about doing offensive hacking so that we can go hack the people who do bad stuff, right? Right? But in reality, unless you have a self-service mentality, meaning you're going to go work for the government, you're going to go work for the FBI, you're going to go work for law enforcement, that's really the only way to do that. But when you make the commitment that the service of others is more important to pay, that's when you have that's when that means something to you about going to do that type of work of government versus private sector, right? Because you will never in a million years make as much hacking for the NSA as you would if you were doing pen testing on the outside, ever. I love that. That's definitely an if you know, you know. What Callie just said, chat. I love you, Callie. You're awesome. You have to go to the government being like, I am completely okay making GS payroll for however long. Cybersec Mom showing up to chat, dropping the gifted subs on everybody. That's how you can tell that she showed up. Good to see you, as always. Right? Congratulations to everybody who got gifted subs. Make sure you hop over into Discord and come hang out with us in sub chat. You now have an exclusive backstage pass to sub chat. That's where all the real conversations happen, is in sub chat. Anybody who hangs out in sub chat, drop it in there. Let everybody know all the cool stuff we talk about in sub chat. You do. You get. I saw somebody say something like you get access to the cool toys. Ish. Right. You know, there's some cool toys. Not all of it's really cool. Right. The biggest thing that you get by working for the government is the enjoyment that comes from public service, if you enjoy that. If you don't enjoy public service, you're not going to enjoy working for the government. And I'll give you an example for this, right? I'll give you an example of this. I worked at the NSA. I worked at the NSA for 7 years. I'm not sure if you guys knew that or not. I hardly ever talk about it. There would be no shortage of ops that we would get. And when you get an op, you literally get an intel person who hands you a classified folder and it's like, here's your op for the day, right? And you go and you execute the op, and the op doesn't tell you that you're hacking into President Xi's personal secretary's computer to steal his Tinder OnlyFans password, right? So that you can then, social engineer him to get access to the Chinese nuclear codes, right? Whatever the case is, right? You don't know that, right? You don't know that. Like, let's just level set that right off the bat. They don't tell you what you're doing. You get a piece of paper or a folder that says you are going to go to this IP address. You're going to use this tool. You're going to go to this directory and you're going to grab this file and you're going to bring it back. You have no idea who that computer belongs to. You have no idea what the contents of that file are. You have no idea what its meaning for that file is. You have no idea what mission it is that you're running. You know nothing, Jon Snow. You know nothing. Right? They tell you nothing. You go there, you do what you're told, you take that file, you hand it over to the intel team, and they go off and they do whatever it is the intel team does. You might, if you're lucky, you might get a plaque 6 to 12 months down the road of a Presidential Commendation Medal. And all it'll say is, due to meritorious service, we congratulate you. Right? So you won't even know when you get that what mission you did at all. And so I say all that to say, yes, compartmentalization is very real in that line of work. It's very real. And you have to be completely okay doing that and not knowing shit at all. Nothing. You just have to know that your work is contributing to national security, and that's all you get to know. Right? If that appeals to you, go do government work. Go do government work. It did not appeal to me. It did not appeal to me. I did it for 10 years. I barely talk about it, but I did it for 10 years. And when given the opportunity on the other side of that, I chose to stay on the outside. I chose to stay on the outside. Oh, that's a cool emote. Wow. Oh, that's my new favorite one. That one, and then the golf one. Those are my two new favorite emotes. Squirrel. If you like that type of work, if you like that type of service, you should 100% go to work in the government. Right? You should 100% go work in the government. Otherwise, stay on the outside, contribute to the... Listen, one of the reasons that I personally have enjoyed working on the outside is because I get to help more people. Right? And I get to know that I help more people. Right? When I was consulting, the amount of clients that I saw, the amount of CISOs that I talked to, the amount of organizations that I helped, that hit something different. That hit something different for me, right? And I was able to talk about it. I was able to share those experiences at conferences. I was able to share those experiences. And that's the other thing. Like when you work for the government, you can't share anything that you work on for the government. If you do this cool thing at work, if you develop this cool TTP, if you develop this nifty little, script, you can't share it. The government doesn't let you share it. And so you've got to be okay. Like you will never get credit for any of the work that you do in the government at all. Yeah, it's all government IP. This is like Hyperwork. Good to see you as always. Good time zone to you. Right? You're not wrong. I've worked on both sides. You're absolutely right. The work has to mean more to you than the pay. So this is where like you want to see who's real and who's fake in cyber? All those ass clowns, right? Who are going to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't work for money." Right? You shouldn't be doing it for a paycheck. Tell them to go work for the government. Tell them if a paycheck's not important, go work for the government. Whoa. How am I supposed to afford my McLaren? How am I supposed to afford my Lamborghini? How am I supposed to afford, how am I supposed to be a content creator? Right? How am I supposed to go get fake awards? And equity in company because I allowed their company to come in and sell my company on their solution. How am I supposed to profit off of grifting in the cybersecurity industry if I'm not making money? How am I supposed to do that if I'm working for the government? Right? That's what you tell those. That's what you tell those fucking. USA. Hyperwork is 100% right. You have to be willing to work for something greater than yourself and know that you're taking haircuts to your peers. Right? He's right. The government, well, so here's what I'll say. I will say one counter to that. Right? My buddy, I've got a guy who he worked with me, he worked with me for a good number of years. We were best friends in Florida. He went on after I left to continue to work in offensive security. He went on to retire in the Air Force after 25 years. He got out and was doing government contracting work. So not GS, general schedule. So there's two ways to work for the government. You can be a GS, a general schedule employee, which means you're actually employed by the United States government. Or you can be a contractor, which means you work for somebody like Booz Allen Hamilton or SAIC or somebody like that, and they have contracts with the government, and then they hire you to work on a contract for the government. Both of them are working for the government. One is just closer to the money pool than the other, basically. Yes, Callie is right. If you are a GS employee, if you are a general schedule employee, you work directly for the government, short of the most disgusting things that you can have on your computer, I'm not going to say it on stream, but short of the most disgusting things that you can have on your computer, it takes an act of Congress to fire you. Right? It takes an act of Congress to fire you. That's how pathetic it is to be a GS employee. Right? You literally... Never mind. That was almost too bad. God, you guys. It's hard to fire somebody who's a GS employee. Damn near impossible. Right? Contracting is a different beast altogether. Right? You have to compete for government contracts. And you may win a government contract this year, and the next time that contract comes up for renewal, even though you may have been doing a smashing job at that contract, that's not guaranteed that you're going to win the contract the second time. And that's what my buddy got caught up in, is he got caught up in, just life, right? They lost the contract, and sure, the government didn't run out of money, but his company was no longer the cheapest option, because that's really what it is most of the time when it comes to government contracts. Right? You're right. You get lucky. Sometimes you get on a roll and you're at the same contracting company working the same contract for 10, 15, 20 years. Right? Sometimes you'll work on the same job with contracting with Booz Allen Hamilton, and then SAIC will come in and win the bid on the contract. And then SAIC will simply buy the people off of Booz Allen Hamilton to continue to work the same contract. Right? So again, there's pros and cons either way to the government working. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Yeah, exactly. Callie's got it, right? Change companies, twice in the same contract just this year, right? You can be working the same contract, you just go from one company to the next, right? Sometimes the pay is the same. Sometimes the pay isn't. Like I've seen cases where Booz wins a contract. Callie will be working for Booz, making $65,000 a year. SAIC will win the contract the next year, and they'll come in and they'll offer Callie $55,000 a year. And they'll be like, hey, you can take it or you can leave. And of course, SAIC has to decide, right? Do they want to hire somebody else and train them up and have a security clearance validated, blah, blah, blah. They've got to make that decision, right? So you do have some leverage, but it's not just magic. There's still competition. There's still no guarantees. It's still just like any other job, right? It has its pros. It has its cons. And you just have to decide which part of that aisle you want to be on. Just have to make a decision. I answered this one a little bit on that one. This is interesting. Cyber Insecurity just wondering, as a cancer survivor in remission, what you got? What do I got? Like freaking Pokemon cards? What are you curious about? I am currently surviving cancer in fake remission. I am surviving cancer in fake remission, meaning that I have to be cancer free for 5 years to officially be in remission. But as always, I take opportunity to thank you guys for your continued support. Your motivation keeps me motivated. Your hype keeps me motivated. I'm glad to be back streaming. I'll tell you that. I'm super glad to be back streaming. Short plug while we're talking about streaming. I am absolutely grateful for everybody who's been tuning in for the co-working chats. Absolutely grateful for people who have been tuning into the co-working chats. Brian and I, Beardsec and I, are doing co-working. I encourage you, Brian, drop your Twitch in there for everybody, please. Go follow Brian. Tune in to Brian and I's co-working streams. We're trying to figure out if yeah, that's right. You can go ahead and add your task. We're going to co-work after this stream. Right? If you've never co-worked before, and I was skeptical. So you see this couch over here? Carmen would come in here, she would sit down on the couch and she would scroll social media. And I would play video games, I'd work on my projects, whatever the case was. It was a form of body doubling, right? It was a form of body doubling. And it was amazing because we never felt like we were really apart. We didn't really talk to each other, right? But we were together. When Beardsec introduced me to that same concept for co-working, I was like, is that really a thing for ADHD streams? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I researched it. I asked ChatGPT to help me research it. And it proved to be a real thing with real benefits. And I have to say, I am way more productive. It's sad to say that I am way more productive with the co-working streams than I am without. I can definitively tell you that on Wednesdays when I don't do co-working streams, I'm not as productive as I am on the other days that I co-work. And so, yes, Sonic, Beard and I have it on our task list to experiment with the stream together feature in Twitch so that we can do a stream together. And I don't want to get ahead of myself. I am a visionary type of person. I think I could see a world where we have a mini little cyber insecurity cohort of co-streamers who are all streaming in an office together, kind of representing cyber insecurity from a co-working perspective, right? I think it could be an interesting way for the community as a whole to bond and be productive and work on our projects and study together as well. And so I'm absolutely a fan of it. We will continue to do them. Right? We will continue to do them. I stream definitely Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. I don't stream on Wednesdays because we have Brandon that streams on Wednesday, so I don't want to interrupt his stream schedule. So Brandon streams here on Wednesdays. But Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, you can catch me. You can catch Beardsec Monday through Thursday, right, as well. Come tune in. You saw ADHD add something to the task list. You can add the task list up. We'll all share the task list together on Stream. Words are hard. And we'll all be productive together. Thank you, CyberSec Mom, for another set of gifted subs. If you did get a gifted sub, do make sure you hang out in sub chat with us. Do you get really cool engagements like nation-state engagements that matter to the threat landscape and cybersecurity? Probably talking about my NSA experience that I rarely talk about. You know that the things that you do are for national security most of the time, right? You're aware of the fact that you're working on national security objectives. What you're not aware of, I had a friend who assisted in the capture of Osama bin Laden. He didn't know that that's what he was working on till way after he got accommodation for it, and somebody had to tell him that this mission that he ran years and years before was part of what led to the capture of Osama bin Laden. He had no idea for it. Right? So that's kind of how that ends up working, right? Is you do the work, and it may have national security implications. It may not. You just never get to know, right? It's not like, this is why, like, I hate the movie aspect of cybersecurity. It's not like you've got some general that comes in and he's like, you know, China's hacking into the Northeast power grid and we've got to go counter hack them to stop their infrastructure from hacking into the national power grid. Neal, let's get to work, man. Like, that's just not how real security works at the agency, right? It's not. I wish it was. It would be a way cooler story to tell. The most fun that I had at the agency was actually building scenarios like that, right? I take that back. I had some other cool moments as well. I say that, and then I thought about a couple other cool moments that I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. Interesting times. Hi, can you give us the best site to learn cyber for Red Team? YouTube. YouTube. Bay coming in with the beard sack level of cynicism. Love it. I'm serious. Go to YouTube. Listen. Callie, where you at? You still awake, Callie? How's your tutor going? How's your tutor going? Callie and I had a chat, if he's still around, about... Oh, exactly, Dosco. It is already starting. Every talk that you missed at DEF CON and Black Hat are, guess what, now on YouTube. Just as I told you 2 weeks ago, when I told you not to FOMO into it, all those talks are over on YouTube. Do the free stuff first. So Callie and I had a conversation. He had asked me how to leverage ChatGPT to build a tutor. I think, Callie, you were trying to do PowerShell, right? If I recall correctly. A PowerShell tutor. And so, like, I showed Callie how to build a PowerShell tutor in ChatGPT. And he went out and he took it to the nth level, and he fell into the rabbit hole. He fell into the rabbit hole. And I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, Callie, so tell me if I am or not, right? But it seemed like from our last conversation that you were absolutely loving ChatGPT's ability to teach you. And Callie was an intern, and as much shit as we give Callie for being an intern, he was a really good intern, but he had a very special way of learning things. And I don't mean that from a bad way whatsoever, right? You know, everybody learns differently, and you have to learn how people learn so you can understand how to teach them. Callie had a very unique style of learning. And so he was cautious about using ChatGPT because he wasn't sure if ChatGPT was going to be able to help him learn. Right? And you could see his testament right there in chat, right? I'll put it up on screen for everybody to see, right? Just in case you can't see it, right? There's again, shout out to Jens for putting this video out on social media. Please do me a favor. Please do me a favor. If you see my videos, if the algorithm shows you my videos, like them, comment on them, whatever the case is, help me get some reach. That's all I ask. Just help me get some reach. But Jens put out an amazing video where I talked about ChatGPT is going to kill the education market. Right? Callie had a learning gap, and he had a unique style of learning where he could either go try to pay some thousands of dollars to find some instructor somewhere that can help him learn in a style that makes sense for him, or he can upload a bunch of documents to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT his learning style, and they can print something that he can understand. Right? So I do. I will tell you now. I will say this now. Anybody who comes into this industry who thinks that their first step has got to be a certification is a baddie. Right? Is a baddie. If you're not going to YouTube and a model first, like, listen, like, I got no qualms about it. I love this. I love this. Like, it looked like there was a question, suggestions on breaking into differ from Frackerty, and then follow on with, never mind with my question, just ask ChatGPT and got the answer. I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Right? Right? Don't ask me. I mean, I'll tell you my opinion. If you want my opinion, I'll give you my opinion. Go get ChatGPT's opinion. Right? Go get ChatGPT's opinion. I have no problem with that. Say it with me. There's an entire video on this. Say it with me. Do the free stuff first. Do the free stuff first. Do the free stuff first. In this job market where AI is looking at your resume and AI is sending you to AI HR screener robots, your OSCP doesn't mean shit. Your OSCP, wipe your butt with it. Wipe your butt with it. You will learn more from ChatGPT and YouTube than anything else. The only training that I will ever advocate for, the only training I'll ever advocate for is the training that somebody else pays for. Let me make that expressly clear. If your company pays for training, go do it. Take the free certs. Take the free certs. You should never, ever, ever pay out of pocket for anything. If your company pays for it, milk them. Milk them all day long. Every cert that I've ever had was paid for by the military. You know how many certs I renewed since I got out in 2013? 0. I've never paid to renew a cert. Ever. If anybody says, hey, Neal, what active certs you hold? I'd be like, 0. Oh, well, you're a dummy. There's no way you know anything about incident response. Yep, you're right. You're right, because when I took that course and I passed it, and then I ended up being a certified SANS instructor where I taught the course, and then I ended up leading and building security teams for Fortune 100 companies multiple times and consulting for a Big Four company on how to build security operations team as well. All that experience definitely, my GCIH is definitely going to be the thing that sets me apart in that candidate pool. That's a company I want to work for right there, folks. That's a company I want to work for. Are GRC officers a scam for the money? What do you mean by GRC officers? There's a lot to unpack there. This could easily turn into a cynical comment, hence the pause. I'm going to answer that one. I'm going to answer that question. I like that one from My Bay Leia. I think it's a fantastic question. I'm going to answer this one first. GRC is a requirement in our world. GRC stands for governance, risk, and compliance. Governance, risk, and compliance. They must exist in any corporate world. Period, dot, end of discussion. You cannot have cybersecurity in an organization without governance. What does governance entail? Governance entails policies, procedures, right? All that type of stuff. You must have policies. How else are people going to know that they have to have MFA? How else are people going to know that they have to encrypt sensitive data? How else are they going to know that they must do secure coding requirements? Governance tells them they have to do it. Risk. You, as a cybersecurity person, your job is not cybersecurity. I know that may come as a shocker to you, but your job is not cybersecurity. Your job is to manage the risk of the organization and to enable the business to take risk. Risk is your only job. Risk is your only job in cyber. Like it or not, pen testing is about risk. SOC analyst work is about risk. Threat hunting is about risk. Vulnerability management, about risk. Everything is about risk. That is your only job. Compliance. If you are in a regulated industry, if you are in finance, you have NYDFS, you have FFIEC. If you process cardholder data, you have PCI DSS. If you're international, you have ISO 27001. If you're a publicly traded company, you have Sarbanes-Oxley. You have compliance coming out of your nose. Right? You have compliance coming out of your nose. So no, GRC officers are not a scam. They are the real heroes behind cybersecurity. If SOC analysts are the frontline soldiers who are on the battlefield every day fighting to defend an enterprise, GRC analysts are the in-garrison logistics officers making it all happen. There you go. There's my military analogy for the day. I've had a few, I realize that. But write that one down. Right? If our SOC analysts are the frontline officer or the frontline soldiers battling day in and day out the bad guy, the GRC team is the logistics people making sure supplies get to the front lines every single day. Listen, I don't like GRC. I don't like when I have to do GRC. I had to do a third-party risk form this week, and I absolutely hate it. Right? It is the least favorite part of my job. But I do it, and I do it with a smile on my face because I know that without the logistics team, the soldiers don't get what they need. Right? So no, GRC officers are not a scam for the money. On that same boat, I'm gonna do Leah's after this, right? GRC engineering real. I think Cybertize is trying to get me on a soapbox because of my GRC engineering comment earlier. We have abused the definition of engineering in corporate America. And I don't think that there's a much bigger abuse of that than in cyber. Yeah, I've seen that one before. We have bastardized the use of the word engineering. I think 75% of the people who have engineering in their title or who call themselves engineers are searching for relevance. There, I said it. There, I said it. Right? I love Sonic. Sonic, love it. Love it. That's what I was alluding to right there, Sonic. Engineering has become more of a pay band than an actual role. And because of that, we have more engineers than are qualified to be engineers. I mean, look, we have prompt engineering. Prompt engineering. What exactly is the engineering of prompts? Right? And listen, like, there are content creators who are trying to make a push for GRC engineering. And I applaud their intent. And I don't take anything away from them for their intent. Right? However, at the end of the day, their intent does not match reality. I know, like I said, this is the intent that they're talking about, Cybertize. Like, and that's why I said, like, I applaud their intent, right? But again, if everybody, so if their role is starting to have AI and automation workflows, so if that's the definition, if I'm a CISO, am I a CISO engineer because my role has AI and automation workflows? Am I a SOC engineering director because I oversee AI and automation workflows? Right? You see how asinine that definition gets? Like I said, I applaud the attempt and I understand why they're advocating for it. They're advocating for it. Listen, let's get into the meat of why they're advocating for it. They're advocating for it because when GRC first came into fruition, they were the policy, risk, register, and compliance framework people. And their job was largely non-technical. I'm not saying that it wasn't technical at all, but it was largely non-technical. right? Now, as the world evolves, in Cybertize, this is where, you're half right. The role is evolving. The role is evolving because they're having to interact more with technology than they did before. They're having to govern technology closer than they did before. And those things are important, and those things are relevant as the role evolves. But that is not an excuse to slap an unnecessary title that simply screams, I just want to be paid more, onto the back of your job description. That's my hot take. That's my hot take on it. I'm not taking away from your description of how your role has changed. But you're not creating anything. You're not modifying anything. You're not creating something out of non-existence to be used by the entirety of civilization. And so therefore, you're not an engineer. You just want a pay band, and you want to be seen as a technical peer to your SOC analyst. Let's call it what it is. You're tired of being viewed. You're tired of being viewed as the paper team. And so you just want to get paid. Absolutely. More power to them if they get the money. I'm not here to deny people get money. Go get your dollar bills. Go get your stacks. If you're not about your money, where's Maz? If you're not about your shit, somebody else will be. Go get paid. What I'm about is be real for it. Right? Yeah. Pay me bands. Yeah. And again, like I said, the people who are touting the GRC engineering, I have nothing against them. I'd have them on the show. We could banter this on the show all day long. You know, I have an opinion on it. That's all it is, right? I understand why they're doing it. I applaud them for what it is that they're doing it, but I fundamentally disagree. My bae Leia had a great conversation as we were talking about the certification stuff. Said, what if the AI bot disqualifies you because you said you hold 0 certs? My personal opinion, the reason I network is because I want people to hire me. I don't want a robot to hire me. So if they're going to run, listen, I've been robot denied. Let me tell you this story if I haven't told it before. 3.5 years ago, before I started working at Query, when I was looking to leave I&E, I started job hunting. I have tons of friends that work at a particular financial organization. And I'm talking like one of the big 10 banks. I have friends that work there. I have partners at big 4 companies that advise there. All that stuff. Right? And when I told them that I was looking for a job to leave I&E to go to somewhere else, they were like, they're looking for distinguished engineers at this particular organization. Neal, you'd be perfect for a distinguished engineer. You get to play with technology. You get to lean forward in the industry. You get to find where the trends are going. You get to see how they could potentially change the business. It's perfect for you. And it did. It sounded like a fantastic job. I went and go read the job description on the website. It sounded like an amazing job. A place where I could sit down and I can ideate on how things would potentially change the business as technology evolved around us, whether it was blockchain or AI or whatever, right? So I had all these people who were willing to advocate for me. They had told me that they had gone and done some behind the scenes legwork for me. Talked to people about my profile. The people in charge were like, yeah, that is the kind of person that we want in this organization doing that type of work. However, this organization's got a very strict policy that they must go fill out the rec on the website. And then once we get it in the pool, we can go advocate for it internally. So that's what I did, is I went to the website, tailored my resume for the job, submitted my resume for the job. Most of you experience this, right? You submit your resume for the job. You get the next page of Workday where it asks you to repeat everything you just submitted in a resume. Whatever, I did it. And then it asked me the typical equal employment opportunity type of stuff. And then it asked me if I had a degree. I'm not going to lie on my resume. I'm not going to lie on a job application. I said, no, I don't have a 4-year degree. No. No sooner did I hit that submit button, did I get an email from Workday that says, sorry, you don't meet the minimum job requirements for this job. I went back and I laughed and I sent it over to all my colleagues inside this organization and all my colleagues at the Big Four. And they were like, wow, that sucks. Well, that's unfortunate. This organization's got a pretty strict policy on 4-year degrees. I guess we can't hire you. And I was like, cool. You don't want me bad enough. I'm out. Right? The reason I can do that is because I have worked for companies. I've worked for Big Four consulting firms that went and fought for me to change the company policy, and I ended up getting hired at a Big Four. I worked for a Fortune 100 life sciences company that had been around for 125 years. They had some of the oldest mentality in the entire industry. They went and fought for me against the policy to rewrite their policy to have me hired. So yes, if you're not going to go fight for me after you advocate for me to change policy to hire me, I don't want to work for you. Because if you're not going to fight for me there, listen, here it is. If you're not going to fight for me there, do you know where else you're not going to fight for me? You're not going to fight for me if I push for change. You're not going to fight for me if I push for promotion. You're not going to fight for me, heaven help me, if there's something bad that's happening in the organization. If you're not willing to fight for me to get me into your organization, you will not fight for me when we're on the same team. Walked away from that opportunity. Would I have loved to have gone worked for them? Potentially. Sounded like a cool role. But if that's their culture, I dodged a bullet, and I'm okay with that. That's how some of you got to think about, right? That's how some of you've got to think about some of these roles. Maybe it wasn't right for you. Maybe the universe was just trying to tell you, right? So so all this to say, if an AI bot disqualifies you, doesn't that tell you everything you need to know about an organization? This is a question I get asked a lot. I used to get really offended by this question. I don't anymore. So I got hired at a life sciences company in 2016. And this was the company that they had to waive their degree requirements to hire me in at the level I was getting hired at, a very, very senior executive level. Right? And I was the only one on the senior staff that didn't have a degree. All of my peers had a degree. And I had this one peer who we were already working together. She knew that they had made an exception to hire me. And she was like, Neal, why don't you just go back and get your degree? Why don't you just go back and get your degree? Why don't you just go back and get your degree? Why don't you just go back and get your degree? Why don't you just go back and get your degree? A degree has never limited me. The lack of a degree has never limited me. Right? And that may sound weird, right? That may sound weird to say. Getting denied a job is not a degree holding me, is not the lack of a degree holding me back. People get denied jobs all the time who have degrees. Right? So it's never held me back, despite, despite getting denied jobs. When I learned that getting denied jobs wasn't a function of a degree or not, it was a function of what they were looking for in a company. When I realized how the world worked, the degree wasn't the thing that was holding me back. So a degree has never held me back. The lack of a degree has never held me back. Maz put it succinctly. I'm going to put a finer point on it. I appreciate that you all respect me. It means the world to me to have you all tune in when we stream on this channel. It means the world to me to have supporters like Cybersec Mom, Sonic, Maz, My Bay Leia, right? Mr. Diesel Doug, over on the platform that shall not be named, Winter Jolt, right? The ADHD, right? Arts Entertainment, who's been around for years. It means the world to me that you all think I'm smart. But if I were to tell you how stupid school made me feel, there were 350 people in my high school senior class. I was number 340. I barely graduated in a small high school. I got denied in my application for college. And my dad was an alum at NC State. He could have talked to the admissions person to get me in. And he did me a favor by not doing that. I asked him to. Don't think I didn't ask him to. I asked him to. And he didn't do that. And so I had to go out into the world at 18 with no degree, no shot of getting into college. And I managed to snatch an internship at an engineering company. And I decided I'm going to go pursue mechanical engineering. So I went to a community college to try to get a degree in mechanical engineering. This was 2000, 97, 98, 99, round in there. Right? I tried to go to a community college to get an engineering degree, or to get a 2-year engineering degree so I could transfer to a 4-year. So a lot of the things that people talk about, right? Well, just go to a community college, get a 2-year degree, and then transfer to a 4-year degree. I made it through, I shit you not, I barely made it through 1 semester. I could tell you all sorts of reasons why I didn't do well in that semester. I could blame other people. I could blame the world. I could say the system didn't support me in it. You know, I could blame all sorts of things. But at the end of the day, I couldn't learn in that scenario. I couldn't learn. It didn't work for me. And so I didn't finish college. I didn't finish that 2-year degree. I went back to just work, and I just grinded. That's all I did. Pre-military. So I graduated high school. I'm going to show my age. I graduated high school, right, in 97. And I went to the military in 2003. Right? So I had 6 years. I had 6 years where I just grinded. And I was in tech when I did it. I stopped pursuing mechanical engineering. I went back to my computer roots that I had done in high school. I went out and found a company. And this is the 2000s, y'all. There was no cyber. You had a comp sci degree. You had no certs whatsoever. You could do MCSE. You could be a Microsoft certified systems engineer. That was it. So I had nothing. I had no degree. I had no certs. I had nothing. Yes, CCNA was around back then for $2,000, which I did not have coming out of high school. Right? And I just grinded. I found companies that were willing to take a chance. Right? I found companies that were willing to take a chance. And that worked for me. And I learned on the job. I learned by getting my hands dirty. I learned by having problems that I couldn't find answers to. I learned by fucking it up. I learned the hard way. And then I went into the military. And I learned by putting my hands on the technology and learning. And I made it through in environments that valued outcome-based skills over paper skills. And when I got out in 2013, right? When I got out in 2013, I got hired not because I had a degree, but because I was able to prove that I could do the job. And that has worked for me for years. And it will continue to work for me because I'm not going to go back to college. I'm not going to go and sit at a professor. Like, I don't think some of you understand. Like, I couldn't do college when I knew nothing. Now I know a lot, and you want me to go sit and listen to a professor who has a tenth of the experience that I have? And you think that I'm just going to sit there and mindlessly go through that experience for a piece of paper, for somebody else's validation? You don't know me very well. I'm not saying you, I'm just saying like that's not me. You either want me because I'm awesome, or you have 200-year-old principles, and I don't want to fucking work for you anyway. right? I'm not going to go get a piece of paper simply to placate your archaic ego. And you can put that one on my fucking LinkedIn, and you can show that to any recruiter that wants to come across my LinkedIn page. If you're going to come across me and offer me a job, and then you're going to try to take it away from me because I don't have a 4-year degree, I don't want to fucking work for you anyway. People who know and have valued my work have put in the exceptions they needed to get me in there. And I got no qualms about that. I have more people who tell me they can't hire me because they can't afford me than tell me that they won't hire me because I don't have a degree. That's the problem that my experience has gotten. And I don't say that to brag. I just say that's the problem. That's why, like, at 46 years old, I'm not going to go back to college to get a piece of paper. I'm just not going to do it. I appreciate the question. It's not the first time I've been asked it. But this is why I have a belief. I have a fundamental belief that experience matters. Because my entire life experience, like some of you want to talk about life experiences, the entirety of my life experience has been about merit. My success has been about merit. Life has proven to me through life experiences right? That merit means more than paper. What method of learning eventually worked out for you? I have to understand. So I'll use the recent AI stuff, right? I've gone shoulders deep into AI, right? So again, I don't have a 4-year degree. I did not learn in a traditional education system. The traditional education system absolutely failed me, right? So if I didn't, and again, I respect fix it 100%, right? School works for some people, and I applaud the school system for it working for some people. But just like we have to admit that school works for some people, it also doesn't work for some people. And I was one of those people it didn't work for. What worked for me was I needed to understand the problem through working through the problem. I don't believe that you can see a problem, go to a manual, and there's the answer to the problem. I don't believe that. And I think that that's what school teaches, right? What's 1 + 1? Oh, does this, da, 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 therefore the answer's 2. Right? I think that's what school teaches. I personally needed to see the problem, work through the problem, and I needed to build the neurons in my head that said, why did 1 + 1 = 2? And then once I understood how that system worked, then I could go, cool, I understand how that system works now. Now I understand how to break it, and now I can understand how to fix it. That's how my brain works. And so take this AI stuff, right? I needed a challenge that I was passionate about. I've shared this on stream before, right? I was passionate about learning how to be a better trader. I don't want to just give my money over to a financial person and have them trade it on my behalf. I see the world evolving around me and I wanted to understand how it worked. And so I wanted to learn how AI could help me fill gaps in my knowledge around trading. And so I had to learn how to use AI to solve a problem that I had no knowledge in, right? To then figure out how to work, to know how to break it, to then know how to fix it. And now I'm advising on AI, right? I have people calling me all the time. Neal, how do I build this AI system? How do I build that AI system? What do you think is best practices for this? What do you think is best practices for that? Right? What have you done here? What have you done there? Right? And so for me, the method of learning that worked best for me was I had to understand how something worked. I was the kid in school who read a quantum physics book to understand how quantum physics worked so that I could eventually go back to my physics class and understand why I had to answer the most basic physics question. Exactly. Public education is designed to meet the needs of everyone. And I didn't learn like everybody else. And I don't necessarily agree with the bad teachers comment. What I agree with is that public education teachers are taught to teach to the majority. Exactly. Teachers are taught that the majority of education should work for the majority of students, and if it doesn't work for the majority, if there is a minority of students who don't learn that way, the system processes them out. Right? You're right, Fixig. I don't disagree with your definition of learning. What I disagree is that the public education system, at least in the United States, is designed for a majority, not a minority. And I don't fault teachers for that. I fault a system that measures teachers based on how many students pass their course and move up to the next level. And they don't have time to educate the minority on their individual nuances of learning. Nor do I think an argument could be made, should they or should they not? I think that that's a different argument altogether. But that's the reality of what happens, right? And the same thing has applied to college, right? The same thing applies to college. It's designed for the majority, not the minority. And this is a super real statement. Where is it? Right here. Absolutely exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. And you are 100% learning everything on your own. 100%. I couldn't empathize more with this. It is absolutely exhausting. And here's the other thing too. It's not the quick road. Let's be 100% honest. When I graduated in 97, when I didn't get into college, when I went back out into the workforce, I wasn't immediately successful. I was homeless for a while. I had to live with my ex-wife. I had to live out of my car. I foreclosed on my very first house that I bought. I was not financially stable. When I was in the military, right? for the time, like throwing a number out is irrelevant because everybody's perspective on numbers is going to be relative. But I can tell you that what I made in the military was below minimum wage, even as an E3, E4, E5 with years of experience, was subpar from an income perspective. Right? It was Camaro, Sonic, not Mustang, Camaro. It was the slow road to success. The amount of dirt that I had to suck because of my style of learning was long. Right? And what ended up happening, I just realized I got a meeting at the top of the hour, so we're gonna tell this story. We'll answer a couple more questions, and then we'll transition to co-working. Please, everybody, stick around for co-working today. Let's end Friday on a right note, and let's co-work together on Friday. The road that I took, I did not believe I would ever be successful. Let me just say, like, if this has not been clear, let me just be unequivocally clear on this. I graduated high school in 97. I spent 10 years in the United States Air Force, largely doing work for the NSA. I know I don't talk about it much. Joking, obviously. I didn't know that I was going to be successful until the September of 2012, 6 months before I got out of the Air Force. I didn't know I was going to be successful until then. And I did know I was going to be successful because I thought I was a failure, because I thought I couldn't learn, because I thought that I wasn't as smart as everybody else because I didn't have a 4-year degree, because I couldn't get a 4-year degree because I just couldn't learn the way that other people learned. But keep in mind, by this time, I had self-taught myself German because I'd been stationed in Germany for 4 years. I'd self-taught myself German. I'd self-taught myself how to be a hacker for the NSA. I had not only self-taught myself how to be a hacker for the NSA, but then I'd gone around and been asked to teach the hackers at the NSA how to do hacking for the NSA. And it wasn't until 6 months before I went to get out of the Air Force that I went, holy shit, I might actually have a career. You're never going to know. You're not going to know when you think you deserve to know when you're going to be successful. There is no path. There is no roadmap. There is no checklist. There is nothing I can say. There's nothing ChatGPT can say. There's nothing the greatest guru in the world can say that will give you that feeling about all your insecurities, about all your imposter syndrome. When it hits, it's going to hit. And all that you're going to know is that you've done your best to prepare. You've done your best to learn. You've done your best to be your best. When you've done your best to provide for your family. That's when you'll know.
I believe in every single one of you. If I can do it, I don't think you guys realize, if I can do it, you can do it. If I could do this, you can do this. I gotta go, I gotta go prepare for a meeting. Everybody stick around for co-working. I'm gonna sign off on the other channels that shall not be named. I gotta go put on a face for a meeting. Let's put on some music real fast. I love you guys. Don't forget this giveaway going on in Discord. Go hit up that giveaway.